Hello everybody, Incon here with another top 5 video, and we're going to be talking about the top 5 ADCs. So, ADC obviously not the role that I main, but I am very close to the ADCs, being of course a support main, meaning that I get to see what ADCs do the best in lane, the ones that I like laning the best with all those opportunities, plus I get to play with all the best, ADCs in the world in ranked as well as in our competitive careers. So, we're going to talk about the best 5 ADCs right now that you can be playing to help carry your team, to be winning your lane, everything across the board. We're going to get right here into this, guys. Number 5 is going to be Jing Wei. So Jing Wei has been one of those gods that a couple of the pro supports have been picking up for a little bit and playing, but she was a little bit too clunky. She had a couple things in her kit that just didn't feel right. And luckily, this recent patch has fixed all of those problems. Very recently, she had the dash induction time reduced to 0. It used to be 0.2, which was a little bit clunky. You'd click it, it'd wait a second, and then it would dash. It also had a big interference with using her tornado. You would tornado, go into the tornado, you have to fly all the way up before you could fly down. Now, the second you hit that tornado, you can dash straight out, which makes her getaway way better. Her ultimate goes way faster now, so everybody has been against Jing Wei, and it's like, Jing Wei's ulting. She was basically the Xing 10 of ADCs, but now her ultimate goes off way faster, so you can use it for getaway way better, and you can also use it for damage more efficiently, and they gave her a little bit of a mana cost reduction on explosive bolts, which really isn't like that big of a deal, but of course every little thing helps. One of the main reasons why Jing Wei is in our top 5 is, one, she has very good lane clear. Her explosive bolts gives her basically a golden bow proc, as well as it procs death toll as well, which basically you're going to be running as an ADC right now, which means that every time she shoots explosive bolts, you're going to get that triple proc on the melee minions or your triple proc on the archer minions. So you're getting a whole bunch of health and mana back every time you auto attack with those 3 shots, which is awesome. Not to mention, of course, her passive lets her roam anywhere on the map. If you get poked out of lane, you fly right back to lane. It's almost impossible to miss waves. Plus, you get a ton of farm on Jing Wei for what's essentially free. You can just back every wave and fly to the back harpies and do them and make it to lane in time, which is one of her biggest bonuses to being her. So now that she's less clunky, now that she's more consistent in how fast you can do her reactions on her dash and her ultimate, she is way better as an ADC, and I expect to see her quite a bit this upcoming split. Our 4th best ADC is going to be our only non-hunter on the list, and we're going to head over towards mage, and it's going to be Soul. Soul comes into dominance in the ADC role basically when Golden Bow doesn't exist. Now that Golden Bow is out of the meta again, Soul is back over here towards the dual lane. She's also a great mid right now, but we're not rating her on her mid, we're rating her on her hunter. Number one reason really why she is here is 2 things. She opens up huge possibilities for your team in terms of composition. This lets you run ADCs in the mid lane. It lets you run physical, maybe a physical support. Maybe you want to run a Guan Yu support, so you run a Soul ADC, so you're not running 4 physicals. She really opens up the board for you to go any sort of team comp that you want by giving you the extra magical damage. And she has very free clear with Stellar Burst, one of the best clear abilities in the game if you're running her in the hunter role. For the most part, the majority of ADCs are going to have a very difficult time contesting with you in lane. For one, the poke that comes from Stellar Burst, especially when you hit like level 3, just the poke that comes out from it, if you throw it and hit the archers and them at the same time, is going to be very hard to deal with. Plus, it's an incredible clear. You can hit the whole wave with it. It does full damage to the entire wave. If you hit the people as well, now you're also harassing while you're doing it. It's a pretty decent sized circle, so you can get a lot of efficiency off with that. Also, if she has her passive up early game, Unstable Manifestation, you cannot box her. The bonus damage and attack speed that she's going to be getting from this passive means that you will not win a boxing fight. So if a soul properly manages her passive by using her abilities in order to keep it up, after she clears the wave before you, she's going to regress on you. She can, of course, use her Disapparate to engage on you incredibly fast, and she's going to do a ton of damage. If you don't have your getaway skill up, or if you didn't level your getaway skill, which you should always get at level 2, you're basically going to die if you don't play this matchup carefully. So you need to be very careful against her. And of course, as a support player going against Soul, it means you have to consider buying magical defense first compared to maybe going physical defense, which is not quite as efficient as you want to be doing, because on supports, you want to get the physical defense because you know towers are going to do physical damage. So the magical defense doesn't really help you as much there. Moving on to number 3 in our list of ADCs that you should be playing. This particular ADC, I hate. I hate this ADC. I hate going against her. I don't mind playing with her, but I hated when people were playing her when Golden Bow was popular, and that is Neith. Neith right now is very much so back in the meta. She loves this Devo Glove stacking meta or Transcendent stacking meta. She just likes building stacks because she's great at it. She has the best lane clear out of any hunter. Your Spirit Arrow is going to absolutely annihilate the wave. Plus you combine that with a weave from your backflip or your unravel, and you're basically full clearing at level 2 if you play your cards right. The reason why Neith was out of the meta was Golden Bow. She did not factor nearly as well with Golden Bow as the other hunters did. Anybody that had any sort of attack speed bonus, say I think Apollo with Audacity, was clearing the wave way too fast, and she wasn't getting to abuse her early abilities in the lane. So she didn't get as much of an early game power spike because she is a bit of an early game hunter. Another big factor for Neith right now, of course, is always World Weaver. Across the map, Global Ult works very well, especially with coordinated teams. You're going to go gank the solo lane. Cool, your jungler rotates over. Neith, poof, she's ready. She's sitting there. Zing, she lets go of her ultimate. Slams, gets the killing blow, or it goes early and it stuns them so your team can finish them off. Very strong kit. Always has been one of the top hunters in Smite outside of that little Golden Bow meta area that we had that kind of took her away from being one of the top ADCs. But now that she's back, she has the root, which goes up to 2 seconds long on a root. Her Unravel is going to be an attack speed buff, which actually makes her a pretty dang good boxing hunter. It can be fairly hard to deal with her in lane, as well as the fact that this is a built-in heal. Hit the wave with it, she'll have her heal and sustain way before you get a significant amount of heal. Plus, she's decently safe. She has the backflip. She can get herself out of Odin Cage the way, say Apollo can't get himself out of Odin Cage because he has a dash and not a flip. She is one of the most annoying, at least for me, ADCs to deal with in lane because if she gets lane presence with her weaves, there's absolutely no way you get that lane presence back. So you just have to accept the loss of the lane and decide that you're going to start rotating or just play it back until you can start rotating. Now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of our very, very top-end hunters. And our number 2 hunter is going to be my personal favorite, and a hunter that got a buff who absolutely did not need a buff, and that's going to be Rama. So Rama got a recent buff to his Astral Arrows, buffing the damage from 10 to 50 to 15 to 55, meaning that at level 1, this was a 50% increase in damage on this ability. Plus, they increased the time slowed from 1 second to 2 seconds. It's only a 10% slow, but lasting for 2 seconds basically lets you stay in range of your autos the entire time that you're doing this. Now, Rama did not need a buff. I just want to throw that out there. He was just dandy. Without Golden Bow, he's completely fine because his Astral Arrows are clearing the entire wave extremely fast. He clears camps very fast. He has a strong early game, a strong mid game, and a strong late game. So, first off, obviously, Astral Arrows, straight bonus damage, a slow, and it's your lane clear. Mana cost is fairly low. Pick Me Up is going to be, of course, your attack speed increase. This is going to be your late game ability that allows you to shred people. You can build more, a little bit heavier on the power side if you want to with Rama, because when you pop this, you're going to get that 15% attack speed increase. So it can give you a little bit more leeway with your build if you want to make sure you're not overcapping on that attack speed. But at the same time, if you're going to, it's really not that big of a deal because you won't overcap it that much. But late game, that 50% attack speed steroid is going to absolutely destroy anything that you encounter within that 5 seconds. And of course, you'll probably have your astral arrows procced as well, so you're doing bonus damage and slowing them while you're attacking faster. He actually has one of the better ADC getaways in the game, not in terms of necessarily it can get out of everything, but in terms of how low the cooldown is. This ability, when you rank it up, has an 8-second cooldown. So if you roll out, go into Rama ult, and sit there for basically the entire duration of the ult, you're pretty much going to be able to immediately roll out again. Basically giving you that double rollout, which allows you to live for a long time. If you have an Aegis, you can combine that with an Aegis and live even longer. He's very hard to lock down and kill because of that ability. Not to mention, this also gives you bonus damage on your next shot, because why not? And more importantly, it cripples for 2 seconds, which means this is one of the better offensive ADCs, if not the best offensive ADC getaway skill in the game. Trying to think of maybe Apollo Dash is extremely strong as well. But a 2-second cripple plus 100 bonus damage is going to really affect people that are trying to get away, because now they can't jump for 2 seconds. And people really underestimate the fact that Rama has a cripple in the first place. Of course, finally, everybody knows Astral Barrage. Rama's ability to pick you off. Even if you get your jump off, chances are you're not going to live if you're below, like, if you're 20% HP or below. All he's got to do is land 1 or 2 shots on you, and you're going to get absolutely decimated by this. For the people that get extremely good at this ability, and you can fairly consistently hit 2 or 3 shots, this is going to be absolutely domination, because it's not only used to kill people getting away, it can be used to finish off a fight at the very end. You're fighting ADC, you're both behind minions, you're trying to get the last couple of hits. You just go into the air and then you shoot down on him and he can't kill you, so you automatically win that trade. Finally, the best ADC right now, and who has arguably been the best ADC for quite a while, is going to be Hu Yi. So Hu Yi has been the best ADC, probably, at least on and off the best ADC, or arguably the best ADC now, for months and months and months. And it's mainly because of how strong his early clear is, and how strong his late game is. And he has absolutely, there's not even any downtime basically between the transition. He basically goes from awesome early game clear to like pen shredding tank at the pen shredding hunter at the end. So let's talk about it. So first of all, as far as passives go, considering crit is back in the meta and he can only be crit once every 3 seconds, that basically means that if you're having an auto attack fight with a late game hunter, for the most part you're just gonna win, because if you crit them twice and they crit you once, well, congrats, you just won the fight, because that's how crits work in this game. The main reason why he's the best early game hunter in terms of getting the lane is Ricochet. There's nothing in the game that out clears Ricochet. If you play your cards right in Hu Yi and you know your bounce locations, he's one of the only hunters that can just clear the back harpies completely by himself. Extremely fast. There's triple bounce locations on both of those back harpies, so he can do that by himself while your support and mid are doing the red buff. This ability, of course, also does a ridiculous amount of damage if you can manage to hit 2 or 3 bounces, or even if you can just hit the last bounce on somebody. It's also a great secure ability if you can get somebody running away. And of course, if you walk into a small corridor, people don't even want to follow you in there, because we've seen people like Zapman land the triple bounce on 2 different people and instantly kill them. Just poof, dead, double kill, when he was getting chased by an entire team, because that's just the power of Hu Yi. What makes him one of the best late game hunters right now is going to be his Mark of the Golden Crow. So right now we're heading kind of more into a tank meta. You may have noticed this in your rank games. So you have your support, obviously, who's tank. You have your solo lane, who's going to be tank. And the junglers right now are building very tanky. You may notice that you're going against, still your Thors. And, you got Erlang Shen now in the jungle. And you've got Susanoo Rat. And, the majority of those are assassins, but if you look at their builds, they're building Breastplate of Valor, and they're building Hide of the Urchins, and they're building Void Shields, and they may be counter-building with Runic Shields, and they're building just Titan's Bane, to get their pen and maybe a Jotun's Wrath. But they're building so much defense, even in the jungler role right now, that you're basically dealing with 3 front lines and then the Hunter mid, which means that the fact that he gives 25% penetration against a target is huge, huge, huge for late game, and one of the main reasons why he transitions to be one of the best hunters in the later stages of the game. Dive Bomb, of course, is going to be one of the better ADC getaways as well, mainly because if they have your mark on them, you're going to be able to knock them up, and if they're standing by a wall, you're going to be able to knock them up, hit them with a ricochet off the wall, and chances are you can also get a double bounce on the way back, plus it stuns them, which means you get at least a free auto attack in, and at that point, if they're not dead, they're going to be immediately running away, trying to get away from you because they can't fight you anymore because you just did 80% of their HP. Even if they're really a tankier character, if you've got this to rank 5 and you've got that pen plus a little bit of your item build going on, you're still going to absolutely demolish them. Finally, he has one of the best, if not the best, Hunter ADC ultimate in the game in terms of team fights. It not only zones out an entire area, right? This huge area people do not want to walk in because they know they're going to take a lot of damage. It's great for blocking off, say, mid-harpy fights. It's great for going to secure gold theories because if you know the fight's going to initiate right on top of you, throw that down so everybody's taking a ton of extra damage, and it slows everybody in the area, which means it's not only going to be easier, or you're not only doing a ton of damage to everybody, but it's going to be easier for you and your teammates to be landing their abilities, but just so it helps them get off more damage just by effect of the skill. Just by slowing everybody in that radius, you're now helping everybody on your team get off more damage, which is helping you win those team fights. Hui in lane will always get there first, basically. If you don't get to lane first on Hui, you either did your ricochets wrong or something went terribly, terribly wrong in the pulling phase. Red buff got reset or something crazy. Once you get to lane, if you're to lane first, you pretty much win the lane pressure for the most part of ADCs. The only ADC who can really try to come back from this would be Neith. Neith would have an opportunity to out lane clear the Hui, but that's going to be essentially it. Those are the top 5 hunters right now, guys. Let me know down in the description what you think about the list. If you agree or disagree and why, let me know. And I'll be making more videos like this, guys. You guys wanted these top 5 video series. You said it was the most helpful for you to get the most information in a small amount of time to help you know who to play. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you did. And as always, have a twitching day, y'all. It's the final countdown. Ba-da-ba-boo. Ba-da-ba-ba-boo. Ba-da-ba-boo. The final countdown.